Hey everyone. So you know that moment when you're laying down a track and suddenly realize your synth just can't keep up with the chords you're throwing at it? Like, you hit that big fat minor seventh and suddenly everything sounds thin and buzzy instead of rich and full? Yeah, that's the exact frustration I ran into last month while trying to finish a track I'd been working on for weeks. I needed something that could handle complex chords without falling apart, and that's when I found the Novation Summit. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Summit isn't your average keyboard, it's a two-part multi-timbral 16-voice polyphonic synth, which basically means it can play two completely different sounds at the same time, each with up to 16 notes ringing out smoothly. I've been using it to layer a warm analog bass with a bright lead, and honestly, it sounds like two synths in one. I was able to stack a thick supersaw lead over a punchy bass line without any note stealing or that annoying plucky sound you get when a synth runs out of voices. That alone saved me hours of reworking parts. What really sold me was the 3 new Oxford Oscillators per voice. These aren't your basic saw waves, they're capable of subtractive synthesis, FM, wavetable, and even ring modulation. I spent one afternoon just messing around with the wavetable mode and ended up with this gritty, evolving pad that became the backbone of my latest track. And the filter section? It's got a 12/24 dB analog multimode filter with dual mode, so you can go from smooth and warm to sharp and aggressive with just a twist of a knob. I used the 24 dB setting on a bass patch to give it that classic Moog growl, and it cut through the mix like a knife. The keybed is also worth mentioning. It's a 5-octave semi-weighted design with velocity sensitivity, so it actually responds to how hard you play. That might not sound like a big deal, but after years of playing on synths with plastic keys, it's a game changer. I found myself playing more expressively, especially when layering chords or doing quick runs. Plus, the synth has stereo audio in routing, which lets me plug in external gear like my Euro rack modules or even my guitar, run it through the Summit's onboard effects, and blend it right into my session. I've used it to process my voice through heavy delays and distortion, which added a whole new texture to my vocal chops. I also love the workflow. The Summit has a massive 9-inch color display that makes editing parameters way easier than squinting at tiny knobs. The layout is intuitive once you get used to it, and the touch-sensitive encoders respond well to adjustments. I've been using it live as well, and the stability is solid, no crashes, no lag, just pure sound. The built-in effects are surprisingly good too, with reverb, delay, chorus, and distortion that actually sound musical, not like cheap digital artifacts. Now, it's not perfect. The synth is pretty heavy, over 20 pounds, so if you're planning to gig with it regularly, you might want to invest in a good flight case. Also, the learning curve is a bit steep if you're new to synthesis. There's a lot going on under the hood, and it can feel overwhelming at first. But once you get past the initial hump, it's incredibly rewarding. All in all, the Novation Summit has become my go-to synth for both studio work and live performance. It's powerful, flexible, and sounds incredible no matter what I throw at it. If you're looking for a synth that can handle complex chords, layered sounds, and external processing without breaking a sweat, this might be the one. Check it out using the link below. For most buyers, the real question is not whether Novation Summit Two-Part 16-voice 61-key polyphonic synthesizer sounds impressive on paper, but whether strengths like two-part multi-timbral 16-voice polyphonic synthesizer and 3 NCO new Oxford Oscillators per voice, enabling actually make daily use feel easier, more dependable, and more worthwhile after the first few days of excitement wear off. It is also smart to think about long-term satisfaction. A product like Novation Summit Two-Part 16-voice 61-key polyphonic synthesizer usually feels like the better buy when it stays convenient, comfortable, and reliable in normal everyday use instead of only looking good in the listing.